Welcome back, Rainmakers, to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Murph, and today we're talking again about Cardano. So I wanted to go over some things of what I'm seeing in the charts of Bitcoin and how it relates to Cardano. A little bit about what I think about the future of Cardano, especially the near future, right? So we've seen some massive gains, and we've seen a cool off. And so what should we likely see next, and what might happen? So without any further ado, why don't we get started? Join me, Rainmakers. Alright, Rainmakers, let's have a look at what is going on with Bitcoin. I wanted to show you this chart, and we're maybe seeing a little bit of a breakout. Remember, we frequently check what's happening in Bitcoin dominance. And as Bitcoin dominance increases, that means Bitcoin is taking a run as compared to altcoins. And when it comes down like this means that altcoins are going up in value. And so there was this head and shoulders pattern here that I keep looking for us to complete. We may or may not, but what I'm waiting to see is I think it's likely we're going to see a Bitcoin run. We're going to see a cool off period on many of the altcoins, including Cardano. So let's take a look back at Bitcoin. Do you see here it's been going down like this, and just now on the hourly chart, we broke above this pattern. And so often we'll see a break above, and then it will come back and retest this. And if it bounces off this and goes up, that means it clearly did break out, and it's going to make a run up. And if Bitcoin takes a run up, wouldn't be surprised to see more sideways trading from most alts. Now, Cardano has kind of had its own cycle because it's had so much good news coming out. And who knows what news might be around the corner other than Charles Hoskinson, and he's really good at keeping that tight-lipped. So we have seen it trading in this pattern like this, and I would imagine it'll trade down this pattern further till either Bitcoin takes a huge run and people maybe sell some alts to run into Bitcoin, or just some good news comes out. And so overall, we're looking at this pattern. So we've had several different triangles if I were to draw them out. In fact, let's do that. Let me show you how sometimes these break. So we were trading in a pattern like this, and probably like this. That's a little bit hard to tell whether it was more like a flag there. And then it actually broke down way out of it and actually then jumped up above it, which is sometimes happens. Usually wait for a confirmation, even when it wicks above. Same thing for Bitcoin. We're really waiting for a confirmation to know that it's really staying above that. And there's one hourly candle above it, but really you need a little bit more than that. All right. So then it broke up, it traded here, and we've seen phenomenal returns from Cardano. I just wanted to take a look at CoinGecko with you and show you what has happened. Number one, it's ranked 3 on CoinGecko, probably also on CoinMarketCap, though I haven't checked. But I wanted to show you these numbers here. So in the last hour, 0.7% return, which, you know, last 24 hours, basically no change. The last 7 days, 16%. The last 14 days, 50%. The last 30 days, 268%. And the last year, essentially a 26x. Now, do you realize what a big deal that is on such a major large cap coin to get a 26x in 1 year? We are well into the bull market. Now, I do think we have more gains coming, though I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more cooling for a while. Now, let's go to the daily. If you look at the daily, this has absolutely gone parabolic here. Part of the reason is Charles spent so much time laying a solid foundation. My background's in real estate and real estate investment. And so when you're building a really big house, you spend the time to lay the foundation right, to get all the plans right, so that then everything actually happens in quick succession. But for a while, as you're doing the plans, laying the foundation, all the plumbing underneath before you even pour the concrete, everything seems to be moving pretty slow. But then once you do have the foundation there and everything is set up correctly, then the walls go up, and then you see a lot of activity happening very fast. And so Charles took the slow approach of planning to do it right and getting all the foundation laid out and solid and even tested and more tested and papers written and ideas explored. And now you're seeing the walls of the huge house come up very quickly, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, Cardano, it's amazing. Now, a lot of you have been following Cardano for a long time, and you saw the correct foundation pieces going into place, and so you joined up and you bought some Cardano, and you've done phenomenally well, and hopefully you are one of the ones that made 26x over the past year, which is absolutely incredible. So what do I expect to see happen? Well, you can only go parabolic for so long before you do have a cooling period. So probably, I mean, this is about as vertical as you can get. And then what likely happens is some sideways trading like this. Now, who knows? Cardano does its own thing sometimes. And so what's funny is technical analysis only works because humans follow certain patterns of behavior. But what technical analysis doesn't completely be able to take into effect is news that's coming out, especially if Charles is keeping really tight-lipped on that and no people find out and start trading it. You really can't see that kind of stuff in technical analysis. Technical analysis measures how patterns usually happen because of emotional behavior. And because so many people use technical analysis, it's kind of fulfills its own promise in that if people see it going a certain way, then they then make decisions because it's going that certain way, which compound the strength of those decisions. And that so often helps. But if you see this parabolic rise here, it wouldn't be terribly surprising if it did cool off. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, because what if some good news came out and it did this number and then it went to $3 and you sold off hoping to buy cheaper? And so with Cardano, I do not swing trade this, number one, because Charles set up so many foundation blocks that so much is happening. I don't try to get out and then get back in and get out and get back in, because all it takes is one good piece of news and all the additional gains I was hoping to make by selling Cardano here and buying even more down here are completely erased, because now I'm paying double for Cardano from what I sold it at. Does that make sense? So I love swing trading. I don't like to swing trade Cardano at all, but I do like to peek at what I think is going to happen with it, because I find that valuable. This is one I'm looking to sell near what I feel is the top of the market. Now, I don't know when that's going to be. I'm looking primarily at Bitcoin and what Bitcoin does. What we've seen before is when Bitcoin has a massive, massive retrace, a lot of that money rolls into the altcoins, and then things fall off. If you haven't followed my channel, let me just show you what I mean. So this is the Bitcoin dominance chart, and this shows us how Bitcoin does relative to the altcoins. So in the previous bull market prior to that, Bitcoin had like complete control or dominance in the market. And so of the total market cap of cryptocurrency altogether, Bitcoin had like 98.3% of the market cap. Now, as a lot of alts like Ethereum and Ripple and Tron and others started to come out and started to do well, Bitcoin's dominance fell. However, we do see right here a massive rise that happened right in December, November, December, when Bitcoin peaked out. Let's go to this. Bitcoin peaked out right, oh, that's not, there we go. That's what I want to look at. Peaked out basically the 17th of December, or the 16th of December, 2017. And if we were to look at many altcoins, what happened is when Bitcoin started falling, and if you look at this retracement, it's quite huge. So I'm going to pull up the fib retracement, and I'm just going to go from here. You're going to see that Bitcoin retraced 50%. And let's look at that time frame. Is that 2 days? How many days is that? So it reached here. We're on a daily chart, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, it fell 50%. And a lot of that money rolled into altcoins, and altcoins went tremendously through early January, and then some still did well February, March, April, May. So really, Bitcoin is our canary in the coal mine. If we see it fall 50%, in a period of a few days, that's a good sign that maybe altcoins will then take a run, and then maybe the whole cycle is going to come to an end soon. Now, what a lot of people who are new don't realize is the massive, massive, massive FOMO that happened during this time. And what you saw is people that hadn't gotten exchange logins before this couldn't even get an exchange login because the exchanges were so inundated with new people. So if you haven't gotten logins to, say, Binance or KuCoin and Coinbase and all these, it's good to go ahead and get them now, even if you're not trading on it, because you may need it later in order to get some of the coins you're interested in. I don't know if it'll be a bottleneck this time, but it's better to have and not need than need and not have. And many of the top exchanges, I do have links down below that you can use to sign up. In some of them, where like the Binance one, where I'm able to slide the slider bar to give you back some own money on your own trades. It gives you 10% back on your own trades because I slid that slider bar all the way over if you use my referral link on it. So not a bad idea to go ahead and get started. Getting some accounts, store those passwords somewhere safe. And even if you don't have money on it, you might not end up needing it, but if you need it and they do get inundated again, you'll be really frustrated waiting, because some people waited a month or 2 months or 3 months because they just couldn't get a login to these exchanges. And you did have some people who were wealthy investors that wanted to be able to trade, literally bought logins with no money on them, but just logins so that they could then change the password and control that login to be able to send money to it, pull money out, and make some trades happen. And it was crazy. So a lot of people, they've seen some new people coming in and they're like, oh, this is great. Well, if we hit the momentum that we hit last cycle, it's going to be crazy. And I was talking to some friends trying to explain to them what that looks like. And in 2017, it was a lot like being at the beach and you know you're there and there's a bunch of people there and it's a little bit crowded. But in the middle of like November and December, it's like being at the beach and there is literally 50,000 people there. And you're like this and you don't even dare go in the water because if you know if you fall, people might not even know you're there and trample all over you and drown. That is what it feels like. And when you feel that massive momentum going, what I want you to remember is what happened after November and December of 2017. Well, this happened. In fact, we can look at, let's see, it depends on which one I used of Cardano as to how far back it goes. Okay. Not as far back as we would like on, I forget which exchange it traded on back then. But let's pull up ADA USDT and let's see if we can find one that might likely go back far enough. And then we're going to look at the full featured chart and let's just see if it goes back far enough. Okay, let's go to weekly and let's do this number. No, ADA-USD. There we go. All right. I don't want all these futures. I just want... Well, Cardano capped out at like $1.38 or something, and we broke that. But in January and February, it actually fell tremendously. And now Cardano might be somewhat stabilized. Keep in mind, Bitcoin was somewhat stabilized, and it only fell 85%. But I don't know about you; those are some huge retracement numbers. So now I have talked to a lot of smart people, and everyone's making their own decisions of what to do when the market does this. And some of the smart people just said, look, I'm holding Cardano until at least 2025. I know it's going to come down. I don't care. I'm just going to leave it staked. And I completely respect that. Because when you sell, you incur tax implications. And if you bought recently, and in certain countries they have like short-term capital gains, your capital gains rate can be pretty high if you're swing trading rather than buying, holding for over a year period. And so that all makes sense. And with crypto, I don't think the tax authorities aren't coming for you if you don't declare things. You're just better off being straight up with them and telling them exactly what your gains are or aren't, and paying the capital gains tax. That way you're not always looking over your shoulder, because many of them have some very smart crypto advisors and they will find you. And so you're just better off factoring in paying taxes on whatever strategy yours is. So the question is, just, I guess the reason I bring this up so often on my channel is I just want people to know that at some point, this amazing momentum and euphoria we're feeling, the euphoria is going to get quite amazing. And say we look like this, and I think our price targets are actually pretty high of what we'll hit. And some people disagree with me. I think we'll hit up to $30 this bull run, just because I think the craziness is going to be insane. And so that actually puts us all the way up here. So we haven't even seen anything on this price chart yet, because if we get up to $30, now here's the challenge though. Say we are doing amazing and we hit over $15. Am I buying any more Cardano? I'm not. What I'm doing actually at that point and a little bit before is I'm starting to sell little bits of it, because I don't know how high it's going to go. Now I've made the decision that I'm actually going to sell most of my cryptocurrencies when I think that euphoria is at its peak. And it's hard to tell exactly where. So what I've done before on things is I just sell little bits, and then a little bit higher I sell some more, and then higher I sell some more. And if we take a big retracement, I kind of evaluate how big is that retracement, and maybe I sell some more, because I've held through those big losses. And even though Bitcoin dropped just 85%, which is huge, most altcoins dropped between 95 to 99.5%, and some of them even higher than that. And I do not want to be left holding those bags again. And then I'm hoping to position myself well. I will continue following cryptocurrency. I'll continue making these channels and talk a lot about, during that time, I'll really talk a lot about trading and technical analysis and other things during that time while much of the market's falling. And then I'll be making some really good buys about a year and a half after it falls, and be picking up and filling my bags completely full with a lot of the cryptocurrencies and altcoins that I'm really bullish on. So I hope you're around for the long term, not just for this cycle, but next cycle, because if you're new, this is a good cycle to get some exposure, hopefully make some returns, and set yourself up and position yourself well so that next time you can make life-changing money. And that would be great if you make it this time too, depending on how much you're able to put in. But I know people, they're only able to put in $100, $500, $1,000. Now, this late in the cycle, it's not likely that you're going to put $1,000 in. It's going to take you to $1 million, and then you're going to sell at just the right time and harvest that. And so just understand this cycle, if you're new, is for learning some things, trying to get as much education as you can, trying to understand the markets better, trying to understand trading, and trying to understand limiting your exposure and your downside risk, so that you don't end up like a lot of us in 2017 that started, and we bought and bought and bought and made significant gains all the way up to the peak, but didn't sell and held all the way to crypto winter. And by then I knew it was too late to sell anyway, and I would just hold it for the next time. But boy, if I had to do that all over again, I would have sold when it got completely euphoric. And then I just would have bought back when it was cheaper, because I knew we were onto something with cryptocurrency and the technology that would change so many of the industries across the world. And a lot of people don't realize that yet. That's okay. They will. Not all of them this cycle. Many of them this cycle. By next cycle, the whole world will be transformed by cryptocurrency, and that's going to be fun too. So I hope you're around for the long term. I want to share with you why I got into crypto to make some great gains. I'm a real estate investor, and one of the challenges with real estate is the cycles are very long. So even if you're buying at the bottom to the top, that might be an 8-year cycle. Whereas cryptocurrency, it's got an accelerated cycle of every 4 years, and right around 4 years. And there's some reasons behind that, which I won't go into too much this time. So I wanted to share with you why I started this channel for you and me and all of us. So yeah. Thank you for joining the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Murph, and if you haven't already, would you hit the like button? Also, if you subscribe to the channel and join us Rainmakers, well, the goal of this year is to make this year completely rain on all of us. And we're going to do that by having on some of the best guests and some of the best project teams come on and answer our questions as we get the best information, so that this year will be phenomenal for all of us. See you soon. So if you stayed all the way to the end, I did want to thank you for being here. I want to thank all you Rainmakers for following me and joining the team. I hope each of you joins the Rainmaker team, and we work together to make this year great. I did also want to mention none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a real estate investor for 20 years who began investing in crypto 4 years ago. I don't know everything. I'm not even always right. I'm just often right. And I created this channel sharing with you what my thoughts are and how I break things down and how I analyze them to make my decision. So I'm not here to fish for you, but I do like sharing how to fish. All right. See you soon.